It does seem that earlier this year the tempo of operations for AMISOM had slowed down. We're getting fewer and fewer reports of new territory being liberated and so on and so forth. But in the aftermath of Westgate, we've seen quite a bit of activity by AMISOM and, of course, the Americans as well. What changed? Was Westgate a wake-up call for AMISOM, perhaps?
I mean, the Westgate attack was a wake-up call for everybody, including AMISOM. But that's not a contributing factor for these operations. As you know, our troops on the ground have been thinly stretched. So once you liberate areas, you want to make sure that those areas are consolidated before you move to the next phase. And then from time to time, you, according to the good intelligence that you have targets that you can target so that you don't allow the militant group to have free movement. Mm-hmm. So that was in the context of our military strategy.
Right. Speaking of strategy, however, because we do understand that Kenyan forces now are part of AMISOM under the law. These airstrikes that they have been performing in Somalia, how do they fit into the overall strategy that AMISOM is pulling off right now?
I mean, as you has mentioned, AMISOM has about 4 sectors now with different troop contributing country, Kenya and Sierra Leone sector 2. So at any given time, I think any participating country can use resources to assist in the fights against terrorism.
So this essentially falls as a sort of Chapter 7 mandate, as it were, to actually use whatever force necessary to deal with Al-Shabaab.
To deal with Al-Shabaab.
Speaking of Al-Shabaab, though, they still hold on to fairly large swathes of southern and central Somalia. Can you give us, and this is operationally difficult, but what sort of timelines are we looking at with regard to clearing them out?
I mean, we don't have timeline. Maybe you may have heard in the media that we are expecting the UN Council resolution on AMISOM, which will allow us to have more troops. The troop strength will be increased from the 17,000 to up to 22 something. So once that is done, our military commanders have plans in place. As you know, the AMISOM went there to fight and then also bring peace and stability to Somalia. It's a long fight. We don't have time on that process. Once we have supported the Somali government to build its national security forces, and they can also, in collaboration with AMISOM, cover a large territory. And at that time we can, but now we don't have a timeline on those.
All right. Finally, though, funding challenges for AMISOM. This has been a pretty big issue, especially ever since it was set up. How's that being resolved? Is your funding much much better? Do you still need more, for example?
Funding cannot be better enough. We still need the funding, but I know that our partners are very cautious of the fact that this is an issue that needs to be dealt with. They have made commitment to continue to support AMISOM, and also the African Union, including our principals at AMISOM, are looking at other sources so that we can be able to have the necessary resources that we need.
All right, we'll have to leave it there for the time being, though. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon.